This is my wife Yolanda. She's not a gamer, but as games have become more prevalent in our household, her willingness to play them has also improved. For over the last 3 months, I have tried to find and discover the best gateway games to showcase to her. So maybe, just maybe, she wants to play more games with me.
What can I play?
If you are new to board gaming just like my wife, welcome to What Can I Play, where we try to discover games to play one game at a time. And today, we are trying to find out what are the best gateway games so I can get my wife to play some more games with me. And the way we're going to do this, as always, is with data and analytics to make this the most robust and as objective list as I can possibly make. Firstly, let's talk about the data that supports this list. This list is a list that is comprised of a lot of my own research. And where do I do a lot of my research? Right here on YouTube. There are a bunch of beautiful YouTubers in the board gaming space that I have gone through their videos to find out what their top gateway games are. In fact, I went through 25 different YouTubers on the subject, and I went through all the games that they have listed, and we got 365 games. Some of them were duplicates, and that's where the things started to be quite interesting. We started to find out which games were recommended more often than another. So I didn't want to stop there. I wanted to find more data sources that could make this more robust. And where else to turn to but BGG? There's a wealth of data on there, including ratings, playtime data, complexity score, and much, much more, which I took into consideration when making this list. How did I do that? Well, I taught myself Python to be able to access the API and put all the data corresponding to the list that I got from all the YouTubers. Once I had that, I created a formula to find out what the top 10 list is definitively. Well, at least as definitively as I could make it to be. After executing on this formula, I finally had my top 10 list that I was able to show my wife and get her opinions on them. After showing her all the 10 games, I asked her which one is she the most excited to play. And we were able to play that one, plus a few more that I already had in my collection. We weren't able to play all 10 of the games, we managed to play 7 out of 10. Hopefully in future videos with your support, I'll be able to play all the games that I mentioned in these lists, and we'll be able to give you a full rundown of each one of them in full detail. If that interests you, please consider subscribing. Without further ado, here is my top 10 list with my wife's opinions before and after where we played those games. At number 10, we have Just One, a fantastic cooperative party game that is super easy to pick up. In Just One, one player has to guess a secret word, while everyone else has to write down a one-word clue to help them out. But the twist is, if any of your clues that are written down match, they're all gone, and that leaves the guesser with less clues to be able to work out what the secret word is. It's all about being creative without being too obvious. It's quick, it's fun, and it works with any group. Just One is definitely a game that breaks the ice and is a great gateway game to get started.
I like it. Easy game.
It is a very easy game, and it's a good little icebreaker, and you can play with anyone.
So Just One. This is another one that we played a lot as well, particularly more so with larger groups, and I feel like that's a good game suited for those situations. And yeah, it's fun. Yeah, they're similar to Codenames, where you're trying to guess the associations and trying to guess other people's mind and their thinking as well.
Coming in at number 9, we have Scout, a unique and clever card game that is all about hand management and strategic play. In Scout, you run a circus, where you are competing against all your other friends running the circus to put on the best show in town. In Scout, you're trying to create the best show possible, and you do this by playing a combination of cards down that beats the show previously. But here's the catch, you can't rearrange any of the cards in your hand, so you're having to find the best show that you currently have on offer. Each turn, you could either try to be the best show in town, or admit defeat and say, bravo, that was an excellent show. But you know what? I'm going to scout one of your talent, so next time I can put on a better show. It's all about timing and making the right decisions. Rules that are very simple and deep strategy. Scout is a fantastic game that enters this gateway genre list.
It's just one of those games that I need to play through to understand it better.
Does the theming do anything to you?
To be honest, I don't care.
And how do you feel about playing card games in general?
They're alright, just depending on the complexity. Like I said, card games, probably generally I need to at least play through it to understand it better. Scout, I did enjoy, but in comparison to the other games that are on the list, it's probably not as up there. Theming, thing that I mentioned about the theming, I didn't quite understand that in comparison, like the whole circus theming to the gameplay. That kind of threw me off a bit, but yeah, it was an alright game. Would I play it again? I would.
At number 8, we have Splendor, a beautifully designed game that's all about collecting gems and building your empire. In Splendor, players take on the role of the Renaissance merchants, aiming to gather valuable gem tokens and purchase cards that give you points and bonuses. The goal is simple: reach 15 points before anyone else by strategically acquiring cards that help you build up an engine. The more powerful your engine, the easier it is to grab high-scoring cards and even impress the nobles for extra points. With its easy to learn rules and satisfying gameplay, Splendor is a great gateway game that is perfect for introducing new players to the world of strategy gems.
Fine. I don't know. I'd play it.
Yeah, I think you would
Sounds
play
more
it.
interesting than, yeah.
Sounds more interesting than Scout.
Yeah, it does to me.
Cool. Alright.
Like, there's a little bit more scheming. So Splendor, we actually never got around to playing, but I do like the theming of it all and the gameplay of they're trying to take the diamonds and also trying to appease Elite and its playing ability and whatnot. So I'm interested in giving that a go one day.
Number 7 on the list is Ticket to Ride, a classic that's been getting people hooked on board games for years. In Ticket to Ride, you're building a train route across the map, connecting cities to complete your destination tickets. On your turn, you can either draw cards, claim routes, or pick up new destinations. But be careful, other players might be trying to block your path and stop you from scoring those long destination tickets. It's all about planning your routes effectively while keeping your eye on your opponents. With its simple rules and gorgeous board, it's a perfect mix of strategy and luck. All aboard the board game train, as Ticket to Ride is just a quintessential gateway game. It's easy to learn and endlessly replayable.
Sounds like a simulation game. And I love simulation games. That's the type of game I was leaning towards playing, like video game wise.
Yeah, okay. Alright, well, we've got that one in the background. We'll definitely be giving that one a shot, and we'll see if you still enjoy it after playing it.
We'll see. So Ticket to Ride. This one, there's a lot of pieces to it. It does take a bit of time for learning, but I did really enjoy it once I got the hang of it. And yeah, so it had that whole simulation vibe, which I really like about games. And yeah, just trying to figure out your own gameplay and afterwards, and versus whoever that you're playing up against as well, and trying to figure out their gameplay in the map.
At number 6, we have Patchwork, a charming 2-player game that's all about quilting, with a competitive twist. In Patchwork, you and your opponent are racing to create the most beautiful and full quilt on your personal board. Each turn you'll choose from available patches, but managing time and buttons, the game's currency, is key. The challenge is trying to find the right piece that fits into your quilt without leaving any gaps. With its simple rules and deep strategy and adorable theme, Patchwork is a fantastic gateway game for couples or for anyone who loves a good puzzle.
Okay. Sounds different.
Yeah.
I like different. Yeah, sounds intriguing.
Interesting. Cool.
So Patchwork. It's not hard to learn, but also at the same time there is a lot of things that you need to remember as well playing. And I got that whole Tetris vibe to it as well. And yeah, after I played it, I wasn't extremely wowed by it. So, but would I play it again? Probably if somebody else suggested it, but it's not something that I would suggest personally.
Coming in at number 5 is The Crew, a quest for Planet 9. It's a cooperative trick-taking game that takes you on an epic space adventure. In the crew, you and your team are astronauts, working together to complete missions by winning specific tricks. Each mission gets progressively harder, requiring careful communication and planning. But here's the catch, you can't talk about the cards in your hand. It's all about reading each other's moves, making the right plays at the right time. With 50 unique missions, the crew offers a ton of replayability and a fresh challenge every time. It's a perfect gateway game for those who love strategy and teamwork. Just don't get lost in space.
Interesting that there's all different things within this one game. So hopefully you don't get bored. Still open to playing it.
And the crew. Okay. This one, it just completely went over my head. I had a lot of difficulties trying to understand it and just was not getting through to me, unfortunately. So it's just not for me. Maybe if I really take the time to really understand it, but that trick taking just, I don't know, just something about it just wasn't working for me.
At number 4, we have Cascadia, a beautifully designed nature-themed game that's all about building the perfect ecosystem. In Cascadia, you're drafting tiles and wildlife tokens to create the most balanced and diverse habitats on your personal board. Each turn, you'll choose from a tile and a token, aiming to match them to a specific scoring objective. The challenge is trying to find the right balance between expanding your habitats and attracting the right animals to score big points. With its simple gameplay, deep strategy and gorgeous artwork, Cascadia is a relaxing yet engaging gateway game that's perfect for nature lovers and gamers alike.
Reminds me of Zoo Tycoon.
To a degree, yeah. It's solving the pattern and getting the...
It's the whole building aspect. It reminds me of Zoo Tycoon. And I love Zoo Tycoon.
So Cascadia ended up being the game that I ended up choosing that we would buy, because it looked like Zoo Tycoon to me, and we ended up playing it, and we both actually thoroughly enjoyed this game. It did have that calming effect that everybody was saying that it was going to give, and yeah, I did have that sensation that I was playing Zoo Tycoon, and I was placing down all the tiles, and that puzzle work, we really enjoyed it, and we found it therapeutic.
At number 3, we have King Domino, a clever, quick game that puts a fresh take on classic dominoes. In King Domino, you're building your own kingdom by selecting and placing domino-style tiles to create the most valuable territory. Each tile shows a different type of land, like forests, fields, lakes, and you'll need to match the tiles cleverly to maximize your points. The challenge is choosing the right tiles while also keeping an eye on what your opponents are doing. With its simple rules, quick gameplay, and strategic depth, King Domino is a perfect gateway game for most beginners and experienced gamers alike. Nah.
I don't know, it doesn't wow me at the same time, but if it's an easy game that I'd probably play with Ethan, then sure.
So King Domino, another one that we didn't actually get to play as well. Upon looking at it, just doesn't look that enjoyable. It just looks like dominoes. And I just couldn't conjure any excitement over it.
Number 2, we have Codenames. A word game that's perfect for testing your deduction skills and teamwork. In Codenames, you're split into 2 teams, each with a spy master and field operatives. The spy master must give a one-word clue to help their team guess the right words on the board, while avoiding words associated with the opposing team and the dreaded assassin. It's a game of strategy, clever clues, and communication. With its engaging gameplay and endless replayability, Codenames is a fantastic gateway game that brings people together for fun and a challenging experience. This is a game that you have played with me, and it was probably to be fair to the genre of gateway games, it was probably one of the first games that I did buy a couple of years back when I started getting really into board games.
Yes.
So Codenames we've played a lot of times in the past, together, and also with other friends and families as well. This is a game that I really enjoy. You got your brain thinking, trying to read your partner's mind basically and how they're putting out words and associating them. But so I feel like this is a really good party game.
And at number 1, we have King of Tokyo, the ultimate game of monster mayhem. In King of Tokyo, you play as giant monsters battling for control of Tokyo City, rolling dice to attack, heal, and gain victory points. Each turn, you roll a dice to choose your actions, from unleashing powerful attacks to healing up or gaining energy to buy special power-ups. The goal? Dominate Tokyo and be the last monster standing, or be the first to reach 20 points in this epic kaiju battle of death. With its fast-paced gameplay, vibrant artwork, and a perfect mix of strategy and luck, King of Tokyo is an exciting game that will sure to have everyone roaring in excitement to see who will reign supreme and be the king of board games.
I think it's different. Well, it's different and not different at the same time. Well, you bought it, so I'm going to be playing it regardless.
Yeah. We have to buy number one.
Guess you really get my opinion once we play it.
Yeah.
Kings of Tokyo, so this is the number 1 rated gateway game. In my opinion, it was just a very middle of the road game. I understand why it can be, but for me personally, yeah, it's easy to play. I enjoyed it, but it's not something that like wows me in any way.
So there we have it. My wife's results are in and the top 10 has been finalized. And we have some big winners and some big losers from that. It took me a bit by surprise that the biggest winner was going to be Cascadia. So this was the biggest winner according to my wife. She absolutely loved this, and as did I. The reason why I didn't think it was going to be such a big winner is at first glance it just seems a bit too simple and a bit too relaxing, and I know my wife loves to be competitive and loves to think a bit faster on her feet. But the relaxing nature and being very akin to a game that she's played in the past in Zoot Tycoon, as she mentioned, really spoke to her and she absolutely loved it. So it just goes to show, showing the games to the player that you're trying to introduce into board games and letting them pick can go a long way. And just like that, we also have the biggest loser, which is The Crew. The Crew took me by surprise. I thought this would be a game that she could get behind, and I thought the cooperative nature of this would be something that would speak towards her. But interestingly to her, she hasn't ever played a trick-taking game, and introducing her to this as the first trick-taking game maybe was the mistake that I made, and there was a bit too much going on for her to actually get her head around trying to read other people's moves as well as trying to decide what moves she needs to make herself. So I think there was just a little bit too much going on in that example there. Some honorable mentions were definitely Codenames and Just One. She's played them in the past before making this video as well, so there's no surprises there that she continued to enjoy them, and I thought maybe they would still remain at the top, and they do to an extent. Just Cascadia beat them to the number 1 spot in her eyes. In addition, Ticket to Ride was also a relatively high surprise for me. I thought it might have been a little bit too complicated and a little bit too long. I know 2-player me with my wife, I think it was the sweet spot for her, and that's why she had a good experience. We did play it with some friends and the experience wasn't as great, but overall she still enjoyed the therapeutic nature of building a bit of a simulation, going back to those Zoo Tycoons and roller coaster simulators and those type of games that she's played in the past. So there was an element of that definitely spoke towards her. So if you're trying to get some of your friends and family to play some board games with you like yourself, show them this list or some of the games that you have in your collection that you think they would be interested in. Have them pick it out, and don't just put a board game on the table thinking that is going to be the right thing for them, which is kind of what I did when I bought this for my wife for Mother's Day. She still enjoyed it. The theming was enough to get her over the line, but it was a bit too complicated at first, and I think I've learnt my lesson there and had to work her up into it. I think if we return back to this game in the next couple of weeks, she'll definitely love it a lot more, having some more games under her belt to be able to play something a bit more complicated and meaty with a bit more time investment. So take it slow, and one day you can play some more complex games, and this is probably one of the more complex games I have in my collection. I'm not a bit of a complex gamer myself, but we'll find out maybe in a future video if that is a genre that I want to tackle. Well, there you have it, the top 10 gateway games to board gaming. I hope you found this video informative and useful, and I would love to see which games you want to play in the comments below from this list. In future, I would love to make these videos even more data rich and more useful, so if you want to be a part of this journey, please consider subscribing and checking out the Discord below, as in future I'll probably try and get more data from the community when it comes to answering these questions to make these videos as robust and valuable as I possibly can. Until then, keep on playing. See ya. Alright, today I've got my...
Do you know where to look?
I didn't think this would be the hard part. You've been on cameras many times before as a podcast. Just you never looked at the camera then? Don't look at it now.
I don't remember.
Well, don't think about it. Stop thinking about it.
It's like the murders and creepers.